Hi everyone. Hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. It's quite sunny down here in London, even though it's been a bit thundery this morning. So wherever you are joining from, I hope you've got sunshine the same as me. We'll wait a couple of seconds and then we'll get started. I know people come in pretty much bang on 2 o'clock. So just accept a few note takers in as well, always. Right. Just to save everyone waiting any longer, we'll get started. So thank you for joining this afternoon for the latest of our webinar series. Today I'm joined by Click, one of our partners, who'll be taking you through beyond email marketing, automate, engage, and convert. A couple of things just to get us started. You've got two options above you, the chat and the Q&A. Feel free to put questions in either or comments, and we will answer them either throughout, at the end, or if they're much more specific to your business, we can take it offline. Completely up to you guys. I'm Emily German, the Growth Marketing Manager here at Mercury, and I'm joined by Owen and Izzy from Click. I'm going to get started by putting a couple of polls in. So I'll hand over to you guys just to do a bit of intro and yeah, get
Wow.
started.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. My name is Owen. I am channel director here at Click. So what does that mean? I am basically the partner account manager for Mercury and other partners that we have in the UK. That's great. The poll just popped up. Fantastic. So if you don't mind answering that as we go. But just a quick little been with Click for 4 years. Prior to that, I've been in email marketing automation as well. So it was a direct fit for me to come to Click. I work with both new customers coming on to Mercury, but then also with existing as well. So I guess it's one of the main things we have here in Click is that we have like a vast success management kind of team. We have a support team and we have a partner management team as well as, and then alongside Isabel here as well, Izzy, we call her. So I might just pass that over to you, Izzy.
Thanks, Owen. Lovely to meet everyone today. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. As Owen mentioned, working also at Click, been here for over 4 years and working as an account executive. So predominantly helping our new customers kind of on their evaluation of the platform, understanding use cases, requirements, how we can kind of support those. And we'll kind of be talking a little bit on today's session about Click and some of kind of those use cases that I've mentioned. So thanks, everyone.
Great. So once we just answer that poll, we might move on. Fantastic. Thanks, Emily. So I'm just looking here now at why Click. So I guess today we just want to talk about why Click, why us, what's our secret sauce, why are we important? So I suppose the main thing, our USP of Click is that we're 100% native in Microsoft Dynamics. So we are all over the world. We have partners, including Mercury, in 76 countries. We're trusted by 2,500 organizations. So we have that global presence with real marketing expertise, okay? So we are committed to your marketing success, right? We are not just kind of your average marketing solution. Once you kind of see it, and we'll go into kind of a show and tell in a while, but what we're kind of renowned for is one of the main bits of feedback we get is we're kind of created by a marketing person, for marketing teams. It's clear that we always had marketing at the front of mind. So like I said, we're 100% native. We don't have any of those external apps, no syncing headaches, exporting, importing, things breaking. We live inside Dynamics. It's our bread and butter. It's what we're used to. So we will get in now. I might just pass it over to Izzy and we can go into kind of some like features and capabilities. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no,
definitely.
Okay, brilliant.
So perfect. Thanks so much, Owen. So as we mentioned at the start of the call, we kind of wanted to talk through kind of some of the use cases that we kind of see typically within the recruitment industry, in particular with Mercury customers, kind of beyond email marketing. So what are the other features that we'd like to focus in on? But before kind of getting to that feature breakdown, I did just kind of want to set the scene with the art of the possible. So Click is very much an end-to-end marketing platform. So it's everything from your outbound use cases. So kind of what does that mean on a feature level? It's email campaigns, SMS, campaign automation, lead scoring, social. Great, they're all the features. What does that kind of translate to? So if we look at our email campaigns, it's the ability to do hyper personalization at scale. So kind of being able to look at candidate re-engagement campaigns, being able to take what you already have in Mercury kind of around key skills, roles, interests, and being able to put that into your email campaigns. The automation, it's kind of where do you start with automation? There's so much that you can do with it. So it's kind of really that focused around nurturing, re-engagement, repetitive tasks that recruiters and that consultants are doing on a daily basis. And even from a marketing perspective, that marketing teams are doing, and being able to kind of put that automation spin on it to put that time in kind of a more of an effective space. And then some of the inbound landing pages, forms, surveys, webinar management. Again, what does that kind of translate to? I suppose forms, we think of general interests, kind of updating of details so we can keep CRM kind of clean and constantly consistent with that relevant information. And then surveys for things like general feedback, kind of post-application, post-success, kind of what kind of feedback and sentiment do we want to get from that. Of course, all of that is underlined by all of our dashboard and analytics. So every feature of Click would kind of give you some really good insights into success rates, measurements, kind of the KPIs, all of the key kind of metrics that you'd expect to see on each of the different features. So as mentioned, just kind of wanted to do a bit of an overview to begin with, set the scene, and now we're kind of going to come into some of those core use cases. So the first one is the value of email marketing. So yes, we are focusing beyond that, but I think it definitely is worth kind of calling out the impact that email marketing is still having in today's world. One of the questions we definitely get asked in kind of more recent times is email marketing still effective? And it definitely is. I think if we look at the data here of that ROI, so with email marketing, it has an ROI of 36 times. So in really simple terms, every dollar spent is $36 kind of in return. So I suppose in short, is it still valuable? Absolutely. It's probably kind of one of those higher success channels, and it's still really key in kind of marketing strategy and marketing journeys today. On the email side, kind of what we see mainly being used in the industry is, as I kind of mentioned, that re-engagement aspect. So kind of being able to keep that candidate pool that you already have, the team have already invested in, it's in Mercury, it's in CRM, and being able to kind of nurture that, keep it warm, maybe reactivate those that have totally gone cold, or else kind of keep that open communication with those that you kind of need to nurture from that point. Email marketing, of course, goes hand in hand with personalization. Personalization is probably key to that kind of email marketing success. And again, some kind of statistics to back that up. Emails that include 3 to 5 personalized variables, such as kind of candidate's name, role, company, achieve a 68.6% open rate and a 24% reply rate. So I think that really just shows kind of email marketing is one thing great, but being able to personalize on that is another. That is probably where the Click native integration really comes into play. So Mercury is going to have all of that data. It's going to have your first name, things like candidate's role, the company, skills, interests, kind of you're storing all of that. And then it's really being able to utilize it on the marketing side. Because we're native, we can now pull all of that kind of into our email. So really easy in the designer, you can kind of reference all of that information. Equally, on the email marketing side, Click would give you a number of email designers to be able to build those templates, create them, add the personalization, and then of course do the sending on your behalf. So being able to schedule those out at different times, kind of look at the analytics that are coming back. So what's our open rate, click rate, if we're getting any unsubscribes, any bounce backs. Bounce back is key, kind of making sure that that data in the CRM is consistently up to date. We would feed all of that, all of those metrics and all that kind of KPIs back into Click. So first little bit around email marketing. The second area is campaign automation. I think campaign automation is probably the feature in Click that gives our customers the most value. Takes a lot of that repetitive tasks that people ultimately don't want to spend time doing. Time could definitely be effectively spent elsewhere. So it needs to be done. These automations need to run. There's huge value in them, but it's kind of trying to remove that manual element where we can. Again, statistic behind that, 42% of recruiters place candidates more quickly due to automation, reducing time spent on manual tasks such as outreach and interview coordination. With campaign automation, it is sometimes quite hard to know where to start. There are so many different use cases, so many ideas, whether that's for internal processes, external kind of journeys that you want to run. So we wanted to kind of identify 2 common journeys that probably, again, add most value, and it's really relevant to kind of the audience on the webinar today. First one is the candidate reactivation journey. So main goal of this is to really revive the dormant talent pools and re-engage inactive candidates into opportunities again. So great, that's kind of what the goal of it. And this is actually kind of a sneak peek of what the Click campaign automation builder looks like. So this is kind of what we mean by those journeys. And you'll see we've kind of set this up in a number of steps. So our initial step is essentially looking for that non-engaged candidate list. That could mean so many different things, but you decide what criteria you want to focus in on. So is it maybe based on kind of email interactions on the marketing side? So if they're engaging with our content, are they visiting our website? We could kind of say if they're not visiting the website, if they're not engaging on emails, if there's no placements, if there's been no communication, that would kind of warrant that non-engaged list. Nice thing with that list is we're looking into Mercury. So we're seeing what you already have. We're looking into the Click side. We're looking into Mercury and understanding what that non-engagement would look like. We then want to send maybe a 3-part re-engagement email campaign. So you can see I have a kind of rectangle here, which is called a series. And these are my 3 emails within that. So I'm going to send an initial re-engagement email. I'm then going to send something on market insights. And then I want to send a recommended roles. The nice thing by this being in a series is that if somebody goes on to potentially go into an application stage, then they move on from those emails. So they don't keep kind of getting maybe receiving kind of emails that are no longer relevant because they've progressed in the journey. As soon as they apply, they move on a step and they stop kind of receiving that communication. We could then have some internal follow-ups of creating tasks for our consultants to follow up and look into that on a bit more of a one-to-one level. And then also being able to update the status to inactive in Mercury. So if somebody maybe hadn't engaged at all, they've done no interactions, then maybe what do we want the call to action to be? Do they want to be inactive? Do we want someone to follow up one last time? We can kind of ultimately decide that within the journey itself. The second automation is a placement celebration and referral journey. So I suppose with the placement celebration, it is something that could really easily be set up. There's kind of not a lot of data points. It's not kind of a big journey that you need to build out, but it really kind of helps on that longevity of relationships and being able to hold that long-term kind of, I suppose, relationship with prospects and candidates, being able to build on that by such a small kind of step. So again, for that, we'll be looking at whoever's being in a segment, success placement, and then we want to send a thank you email. Maybe in that place we want to send kind of a survey to get feedback, to understand kind of how the process has been, what can we change for last time. So the 2 of those could kind of be multiple ideas that could also be run within Click. Event management. So up till this point, we've kind of focused in on the email marketing side, so kind of that re-engagement, the nurturing, whether that's through automation, through emails. But with the event management, I would say that a lot of our customers in the recruitment space are likely attending an event in some form, whether that's hosting a webinar, whether it's recruiters attending an in-person event, there is some level of event activity. And the challenge with that at times can be to measure the ROI of those events. So you might have some individuals that are attending events, they're getting like an attendee list in Excel after, maybe then a one-to-one follow-up is happening in Outlook, then might have someone else attending the event and they have a separate process, and it's all siloed, but more importantly, it's really hard for marketing to measure the ROI from those events. What Click looks to do is centralize that event activity. So we would have event connectors with Teams, Zoom, GoToWebinar if you're hosting your own webinars. We also work with in-person ones like Event, Brighton Cvent, and we also have a really nice import tool. that would allow you to get that attendee list and import it into Click. By having that in Click, it's also being added to Mercury, and it gives you that one central system to really see the impact of the event. So how many attendees are we getting? How long are they staying in the session for? How many people are our team speaking to kind of when they're at these events? What does that progress to? Does it just progress to maybe candidate interest, or does it actually go on in the recruitment cycle? So I think kind of that event management, kind of, I suppose, having a process for that, bringing it into CRM, again, kind of statistic alongside that. CRM users see a 94% increase in sales productivity with centralized event and lead data. So kind of bringing that all in. That's one side of your event, and then tying back to kind of another feature of Click, of course, then doing your automation journeys around that. So do we want to do a pre-event journey where if we're hosting a webinar, we're maybe sending reminders, we're sending invites, we're kind of sending more about what the topic of the webinar is going to be. And if it was an in-person event and we want to do a follow-up journey, we could look at kind of sending maybe a 3-part email campaign. If somebody's clicking on all the right call to actions, if they're really engaging with us, that's when we kind of notify our recruiters and our consultants, and we look for them to maybe follow up on a one-by-one basis. So I think event management is key, bringing it all into CRM, into Click, and then kind of being able to do that follow-up post-event or pre-event comms. And then finally, from my side, just lead scoring. Lead scoring, again, I think is kind of very pivotal in terms of the conversion. So when it comes to interest, kind of when we have clients and our candidates and we're looking at kind of interest that's been shown, sometimes that is all within Mercury. So we have kind of ideal candidates, we have those that are engaging with us, taking all the right actions, but at times it can be really hard for individuals to know who should they go after. So kind of who is the most likely to convert, who's maybe showing the best signs, the most positive kind of actions, and that's where lead scoring can come in. Take some of that guesswork out of it for the team, but it will also kind of present them with those kind of high priority candidates that they should be following up with. So lead scoring, companies that are using it see a 77% increase in lead generation ROI. So that interest that we've gathered, kind of being able to capitalize on that. And what it looks like from a Click side is it's really focused on that marketing activity. So if we go back to the events example, team member has attended an event and they come back with a potential attendee list and potential candidate list of 50 individuals. They are now in our CRM. They're sitting there. We've put them through an event follow-up, but now we want to kind of understand that conversion and what that looks like. So within that, we could have a scoring model to measure things like email opens. So if someone opens an email, let's give them a score of 10. If somebody submits a form, let's give them a score of 15. If somebody comes onto our website and they visit our website in general, or maybe a certain page, that would warrant maybe a higher score of something like 20. So all of these candidates, as they're in the system, as they're engaging with marketing, they're getting this score attributed in the back end. And then we can have different views for the recruiters and the consultants to come in and look at those high priorities. So if someone has that really high score, then maybe they weren't kind of that direct one-to-one follow-up, versus if someone's maybe at that medium score, that's where you might look at something like this journey here for Click automation, just to nurture them that little bit further. And maybe if someone has kind of very low engagement rates, maybe we just kind of send them some more like branding, kind of some generic emails that we kind of just want to kind of remind them that we're still here and kind of get that score back up. So lead scoring, kind of key part, just improving that marketing and sales alignment, really providing some good insights to consultants to understand where time is best being spent, and then kind of prioritize those high priority candidates. That is everything that I want to cover, and just kind of those few key use cases kind of beyond the email marketing side. And then I'm going to hand over to Owen to talk a little bit around social.
Thanks, Izzy. So just quick area, I do want to speak about Click Social in its entirety, but we also want to like kind of just like focus in on social advocacy, as it's so important to the recruitment industry, right? So basically it's a way to amplify your employer brand through people's candidates, right? Who people trust the most, which is your employees. Okay, so instead of relying solely on like your paid advertising or your corporate brand channels, what you're doing is basically you're activating your entire workforce. So using your own colleagues, your own employees to kind of push out that strategy. Okay, so what you do is it's a way, excuse me, it's a way of putting up pre-approved content onto a social advocacy board and then being able to share that every employee in the org is able to do it, right? The result is greater reach, stronger employer brand credibility, and just it's much more authentic with potential candidates. So in a market where candidates have more choices than ever, authentic employee voices outperform those traditional recruitment kind of marketing historic way of doing things. So basically it allows you to, if we just move on to the next slide, Izzy, please. What it does is posts shared by employees generate 8 times more engagement than the same content published by a brand account. And the main reason behind that is people trust people. And that's where the engagement lies. Obviously then on our own Click Social tool in itself, we have the direct integration to Dynamics, we have a marketing calendar, we have AI capabilities, we have much more features and capabilities, but I just wanted to narrow in on the social advocacy piece. Emily, I might pass it back over to you.
Yeah, of course. I have got a question. I don't know if you want to do a bit of Q&A first.
Yeah,
I guess whilst we're on the social point of things, we
absolutely.
use Octopus ourselves, and I think it definitely we see a lot more exposure because the team are sharing it as opposed to just the company page, because it does
Yeah.
seem LinkedIn pushes people, like you said, as opposed to the company page. So I guess advice to me or advice to anyone on the call, how would you say I should best measure kind of the impact of that? If we're sharing more, how can I see the results?
Yeah, so a piece of that. Yeah, so a couple of things. So firstly, more and more of your employees are using inside Mercury, right? So you also have that. You don't, it's not even like a third party tool, right? I just wanted to kind of narrow in on that. It's in like Teams. So you actually have the integration directly to Teams, and you can work from the board to be able to share it directly on your LinkedIn, which is fabulous, right? Just it kind of removes that barrier. But then from a measuring point of view of social campaigns, you have you have a reporting module inside. So you have like your engagements, you have some out of the box ones. So like your engagements, your audience, what's kind of landing. But then you have a way of creating a custom report very, very easily with a drag and drop mechanism, right? So what you can do is you can actually put side by side, this is what our brand is pushing out, and this is the engagement we're getting back, and often it's very good, right? But you can then, to this stat, you're getting 8 more times engagement on the individual level. And I guess that's because, Emily, you've X amount of followers, I have X amount of connections, Isabella's X amount of connections. So like you put that on and it's just like the knock-on effect of it all. And that's kind of why it generates, I suppose, in that LinkedIn algorithm, much more engagement.
Yeah, for sure. Our team certainly like the leaderboard. I think that
Yeah, well, that's the
riles
other
them
side
up.
of it. You have like this
It's great to have a bit of competition.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You have the gamification and you can create your own scoring model on that. So like whether it's likes, posts, um, whatever it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah,
got,
I'm not exactly sure what ours is because obviously you can change it, but I do know
yeah,
one of the CSMs mentioned to me, oh, I didn't know you get it for this. And it was, I think it was something like if you commented on someone else's post that had been shared and
yeah.
they didn't know, they were like, "How am missing out all these points this whole time when they were just sharing." And then there was relentless commenting. I don't know if the guy's on the call, but if he is, he'll know I'm referring to him. So it's very cool. I guess it gives that other element of kind of the gamification, like you mentioned. And then Izzy, I guess we spoke about it a few different times beyond the email piece of involving the recruiters or for us involving the sales team.
Mhm.
You mentioned a couple of triggers, and I guess it's extremely important to have them seeing what's going on as well as being involved with it. Do you see that being quite impactful, how much the recruiter is involved in the campaign itself?
Yeah, I would say that it depends. So I think every customer is different. In some cases, the recruiters definitely kind of want to be involved in things like the creation of the list. So kind of target list they want to go after, definitely want to be able to measure impact and kind of see the results and see the metrics. So the nice thing with Click is we can do different levels of access. So we can have teams that are able to create those marketing lists, they're able to come in, they're able to view the reports, view the analytics. I think if the team are having any involvement in the campaigns, it's really important for them to be able to see that and to be able to see the success. The other side we see is where marketing want to solely own it and kind of I suppose, restrict access to a certain point, maybe just share reports internally, and that can also be done. So with another security role, we could make sure that everything's kind of locked down, can kind of only view campaigns, that marketing are the only ones that have access to create campaigns, create posts, schedule things, but then we can still share those reports internally. So I would say it depends. I think the nice thing with Click is the uplift in terms of kind of time that's needed. It's not there to kind of add additional administrative burden. It's really there to kind of look at automating those things that are taking that time and kind of take that off individuals' plates. So I think by getting some of the team involved, kind of understanding where time is maybe being like spent and what could be automated in Click, that kind of combination is another kind of approach that could also be done.
Yeah, for sure. I strike in the balance, I guess, because there's some parts the team might want to know about and know
Yeah.
regularly, but every email open isn't necessarily needed
Absolutely.
either.
Yeah, and we have a really nice dashboarding tools. That's kind of one of the relatively new changes that we've made is before analytics were like really in depth and they give you everything, which is amazing for marketing. But if you're not living and breathing marketing on a day-to-day basis and you just want to see the high level stats, that's where that dashboarding tool is nice. So it's just kind of comparison, opens, click rates, so that's kind of the other side of it too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think probably timely for me is the event management side of things. I think it seems obvious to run it in a campaign, but it just means you're not forgetting things. Everyone's going to have a pre and post build of an event, but it's all documented. Everyone has visibility of it, and then yeah, you can have those
Exactly.
triggers to notify whoever you need at whichever
Yep.
stage, or keep it completely controlled in the single marketing team. So yeah, very cool to have the option to do that beyond just sending an email for an event. Because I think traditionally people might have the perception of you guys as an email tool when you are much beyond that. So
Yep.
very cool. If anyone has any Q&A, please drop it in the chat. But otherwise I will run through kind of just some final resources if you're able to move to the next slide, Italy. So kind of as always, a few options that we have for support. So the knowledge base, everyone has access to via that link that's on screen. So any questions will be answered in there. Short, long, feature-based, problem-based, whatever you need, pop to the knowledge base and it will be there. Alternatively, if you want to get some interactive feedback from your peers and you're not already in the community, please reach out to Tony. He will be more than happy to assist with getting you in. There can be a variety of different discussion points. We like to get feature feedback as well in there. We share information about webinars. So everything is kind of a hub there. And then lastly, if we can go on to the next slide, if you want to subscribe to this series so you get notified when there's other great webinars like this one, I'll keep you notified via email that they're going on and which dates we've got them coming out. So if you scan this QR code, there'll be a form with a couple of details, pretty much your name and email, and then I can keep you updated with what's to come. If there is any Q&A, I don't know if I can see anything in the chat, but is there anything else you guys want to add just on how to reach out to you afterwards if anyone does have any further questions?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can share my email address maybe in a follow-up today, but we can get that out. But please follow up any kind of questions around use case we've done, kind of any existing customers that kind of want some support on kind of the Click setup. And then, of course, anyone who isn't using Click today and kind of wants to start that conversation and what that looks like, please feel free to reach out directly to me. We're more than happy to pick that up. But just want to thank everyone for their time today. Really do appreciate it.
Amazing.
I think we've just had a question come in.
Yeah,
have we?
as I say it, literally one's come in. So the question is, does the campaign automation have any templates to use to generate ideas of how different campaigns can look?
Yeah, it absolutely does. So we have 6 kind of standard templates. One is actually like the event management follow-up, form follow-up, subscription management. We didn't even touch on today, but kind of managing opt-in and opt-outs. So they'd be some of the ideas of pre-built automation templates that we have. They're a really nice starting point. They kind of give you all the building blocks, but then can be totally customized to whatever changes and whatever makes most sense for your setup. The other nice side of that is if you, for example, put quite a lot of time into kind of building something like a nurture campaign, you've kind of invested that input, you've kind of, as I said, spent time on it, you can also save that down as a reusable template. So you don't need to do that every time you have a new campaign. So it can kind of also be saved down specific in your environment and then can be reused across the team. So 2 options there, but yes, absolutely, we do have them.
Amazing. I don't want to cut off too soon, but if there isn't any other questions, obviously anything else I can feed back to you guys,
That's
and I'll
okay.
put links to your contact info in the follow-up.
Yep.
Thank you so much for today. I've learned a lot, just almost the extended options that we've got. We are Click users ourselves, despite obviously being partnered with you. So yeah, really great insights. I'll get the recording sent to everyone who did and didn't come. But other than that, have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks.